Roots to Wellbeing uses the 5 ways to wellbeing to support your mental health. Connect, take notice, keep learning, be active and give. Thanks for watching.
Hi everyone, my name is Matt. I'm just going to do a quick video for you explaining a little bit about some of the things that I use to help my mental health. It's a little bit of an introduction. I've suffered from anxiety and depression unfortunately for a long time now. Recently I've had bouts of kind of OCD as well, with obsessive checking. But I do use a lot of different things to help me through all of that, and that's what I'm going to explain to you in a second. I also have mild cerebral palsy, which unfortunately the anxiety and the depression, and I imagine the OCD as well, although I'm not too sure, are kind of connected with the cerebral palsy. That being said, I wouldn't change having it for the world, because there are a lot of positive sides to it as well. So I'm just going to go through some of the things which I find help me. Now, I'm no expert on any of these, and these might not be the same ones that you want to use. You use whatever works for you, but personally for me, this is what helps. So the first one on my list is kind of a lot in one bracket: yoga, Pilates, Tai Chi and meditation. They're all kind of very similar, which is why I put them in the same category. The first thing I put on here is that if you're trying it for the first time, then go to a class, because especially if you have arthritis like I do. I have arthritis in my back and in my knees, and hypermobility in my knees as well. If you've got any health conditions like that, then it's best to go to a class, because they'll be able to tell you the correct poses to do and the correct way to do them, which will save you from injuring yourself. For the meditation side, I find that singing bowls are really helpful. This is one of my singing bowls. This is a hand-hammered Tibetan singing bowl. They are really, really useful in meditation. You don't need to be overly fit and healthy to practice yoga. I think so many people feel like they have to be some kind of contortionist in order to do yoga, and you really don't. I'm not the most mobile person in the world, but I still manage it, and actually it really helps with your mobility and your balance and things like that when you do yoga. And you also don't need to follow the teacher's exact movements. So if you're at a class, for instance, and they're doing something which you don't feel comfortable with, just do what you do feel comfortable with. Do whatever you feel is right for that time. It might be an adaptation on what they're doing, or it might be something completely different. And most yoga teachers will tell you to do that. It's better to do something different to them rather than do something which you know is going to injure you, basically. Props can be really useful. I don't have any here to show you at the moment, but things like blocks and straps and things like that, they can be really useful, and they don't have to be expensive. You don't need to use them, but they are a big help, especially if you've got arthritis. And the meditation, if you're finding it quite difficult to meditate, then I recommend doing a gong bath or a drumming meditation, because that's something you don't need to actually actively sit or lay with your eyes closed really focusing on. You can just have it playing in the background and still feel the effects from it. The same if you're using it as a sleep aid, you'll still get the full benefits from it even if you go to sleep while you're listening to it. By all means, you can use it as a full-on meditation as well, but you don't need to, so it is a good thing if you find a meditation difficult. The next thing is positive mindset. So for every negative thought, what I like to do is think of 3 positive ones, and that kind of changes my brain, if you like, to think positively. So in time you'll find that you'll just naturally think positively instead of negatively. So that's a really good thing to do, especially like things like the weather. If you're looking out the window and you're looking at the weather and you're thinking that's not very nice out there, just think of 3 positives about it instead. And the next one on here is about the weather, about just appreciating the weather. Don't see weather as bad weather and good weather, just see weather as weather, and just see the positive sides of every weather condition as well as the negatives. Nature is something which I find really, really important for your mental health, particularly for fighting depression. Can really, really help to lift your mood, also it eases anxiety. I like to record little 1-minute clips of places when I go different places in nature, just little 1-minute audio clips which you can then use as sleep aids, you can use as background music, you can use as meditation aids, or whatever you want to use them for. And they're really good to use when you can't get out the house and actually hear that for yourself. And approach walks with a beginner's mind. So when you go out for a nice walk, just approach things with a beginner's mind. What I mean by that is imagine that you're seeing these things for the first time, that you're walking for the first time, that you've seen your first ever bird. It might sound daft, but that actually really helps to, again, ease your depression and your anxiety. Next is cooking. So I love cooking, I cook all the time. It's nice to have some nice relaxing music playing in the background that can really help. Also, you can incorporate yoga poses and mindfulness into your cooking. Obviously there's many parts of cooking that you can be really mindful while doing. Also you can incorporate, as I say, yoga. You can incorporate tree poses, you can incorporate just little stretches of the back to the side, for instance. You can clench your fists and open them again. Many different yoga poses can be incorporated into that. Don't beat yourself up as well if you've cooked something and it turns out not to be very nice or it doesn't go as planned. I used to do that, and trust me, it's not a good thing to do. Just think, okay, never mind, I'll try it again another time. And eat mindfully. So when you're eating your tea or your breakfast, try not to sit in front of the TV while you're eating. I know it's very easy to do, especially if you're watching a film, but it's not a good habit to get into. So music, listening to music from your childhood is a really good thing. I've went back and listened to a lot of albums from what I used to listen to when I was younger. For instance, The Coral. I used to listen to those with my sister a lot of years back now. Haven't heard them for years and thought I'd go back and listen. It brings back all those happy memories. If you can listen to music with your eyes closed as well, that gets you really absorbed into it. And background music is also really good for waking up in the morning, getting motivated. On the other hand, relaxing music is great, like I've got in the background now, is great for practicing yoga and for meditation and stuff like that. And the last one on this section is do dance in the shower. Bit of a fun one really, but I love dancing in the shower. I can't dance to save my life, but if I'm in the shower and I've got a track on and I really like it and I feel like dancing, I just dance to it and it really lifts my mood. So do dance in the shower. No one can see you, it doesn't matter. So diet, eat well, feel well, obviously. If you compare how you feel from eating a bucket of fried food to eating a nice bowl of salad or something, or a casserole perhaps, you feel so grotty, if you like, after eating that fried food, and so much better after eating that salad or that casserole. And that's the instant feeling after you've just eaten it. Now when you do that day in, day out, well, I don't need to tell you what happens there. So eat sensibly, try to eat at set times as well, and don't be harsh on yourself if you fall off track with any of this. Just get back on track when you can. And the final part on here is surround yourself with love. So take every opportunity you can to spend time with friends and family, and surround yourself with people that love you and that you love. Surround yourself with love is so important. Don't wallow on heartbreak and past friendships. I've had friends, 1 minute we're friends, the next minute they've just deserted me, and it really doesn't do you any good, as I've found out myself, to wallow on it. Just appreciate all of those happy moments you had, and just accept that people come into your life and people go. And if they've gone out of your life, they're meant to have done. And you did have some good memories, and just cherish those. And practice loving kindness meditations as regularly as you can. That's a really good way of loving yourself and loving others. And the final part on here is to love yourself. I'm not saying be in love with yourself, thinking you're God's gift, for instance, but love yourself. Love yourself for who you are. I mean, many years ago, I didn't love myself. I hated myself, really. I hated the way I looked, mainly. I thought I was fat and I was ugly and no one would go out with me, and I was no good at anything. And I really beat myself up, and the worst thing you can do is beat yourself up. Never beat yourself up. I know a lot of people always say the same thing, which is very true. Treat yourself how you would treat a friend. Would you really treat a friend how you treat yourself? A lot of the time you wouldn't. So just think of that next time you beat yourself up. And just love yourself. Love yourself for who you are. And I really hope you found this video useful. Thank you so much for watching.
If you feel inspired and want to learn ways to support your mental health, please subscribe to our channel. Or you can find us at www.rootstowellbeing.org. And if you would like to get involved in future videos, please contact hello@rootstowellbeing.org. Thank you.